Hey guys, so we get a lot of calls about these questions over and over again. So I thought I could make a video and explain it once and for all. So for all our Canberra locals, we say some of the questions I get a lot of: how do I hire a professional local plumber? So it all just comes down to, are they registered as a plumber with Canberra Access? So registration means that Canberra Access knows that you are a plumber, you exist, and you have different levels of registration. You have a licensed plumber, then you have, that's the highest level of registration, and that's what every plumber should be if they're going to be working alone. Then you have one level below that, they call that a journeyman. That's someone that's almost ready to be licensed, but is still getting there. And then below that is like a fourth year apprentice, third year apprentice, and all the apprentices are not really supposed to be working by themselves. Well, they shouldn't be working by themselves. So to hire a professional plumber, you should be going to asking the plumber themselves for their identification from Canberra Access, saying, hey, can I see your identification, your registration? You can go online to the Canberra Access website and see, okay, where does that registration, is that valid? Is it up to date? So different plumbers have different kinds of registration. So some plumbers are only registered in, for example, gas, or some are only registered in water, or some are only registered in sanitary, which is like the drainage system. So you really need to find a plumber that is registered correctly in that correct category. So not all plumbers are registered in every category. So if someone comes and works at their house with, say, gas work, and they're not registered, then that's definitely an illegal job. You're not allowed to be doing that. So you wouldn't be calling that a professional plumber in that case. So, and then what's next? So I guess that's pretty much it. How do I hire a professional plumber? You've got to look at their history, see what their interactions are. If they've had disputes with other people, how have they solved it? Usually with plumbers, a lot of times if there is a dispute, sometimes it just leads to the plumber just ignoring that person. So you want to avoid things like that. Also, all professional plumbers should have insurances, like at least public liability, if not income protection or workers' comp, that protects them if they were to hurt themselves at your house. Then who's going to be liable for their damages, their health claims and stuff? So they should have something called workers' compensation or income protection that protects their physical well-being. And public liability means if they cause any damage to your house and they can't fix it, then the insurance company will step in and come and fix it. And yeah, so what else is there? How do I hire a professional local plumber? In terms of plumbers, most plumbers, it's not an industry where people travel a lot for work. Usually most plumbers are going to be local, but it also defines how much is local. Some plumbers will be coming, a suburb or two outside of Canberra from Yass or Queanbeyan or Murrumbateman or Googong, south of Banks is like Micalago, and then they'll be coming into Canberra for work. So it depends on how local you want. So some of them live within Canberra, some of them come outside of Canberra to come into work. And so that's how you know if they're local or not. But generally plumbing is going to be local plumbers. It may be a company may be there that may be, a company that is from a different state, its head office somewhere else, but generally speaking, all plumbers are going to be locals. Yeah. So, and then how do I hire a professional local plumber? And just check the reviews online. Really, professionalism is about, hey, if a plumber has a disagreement with a client, then in that case, what is being professional being about? It is like, okay, well, we may have a disagreement, we may not agree on this, but let's get to a nice outcome regardless. Let's not leave each other in the lurch, and find a way that both of us can walk away from this happy. And sometimes you may find plumbers, they might just ignore the person or just not go back to warranties or whatnot. So you really want a plumber or a company that ensures that if things were to go wrong, how do they resolve it? Do they come through? Do they have a dispute resolution system? Are they a reasonable company? Are they good to deal with? Do pipes freeze in Canberra? Yes, they do. So Canberra, due to its location, not next to the seaside, in the winter it can get super cold. Yes, pipes definitely freeze in the winter time, and there's many ways to overcome that with lagging, and so the next question we get is, do pipes always burst when they freeze? So not always. So it's really just a matter of luck, how old it is, how quickly it gets hot. So if it's really, really cold during the night and the sun comes and shines on it in the morning, and it changes from cold to hot quite quickly, then because metal is quite a strong, it's not a flexible, it's not a it doesn't have much movement in metal or copper or any of the pipes, galvanized pipes that water runs through. So all of these things, because there isn't much give, if it goes from hot and cold, then or cold to hot, then there's a lot of movement in the metal, and then a much higher chance where it can break between joins, or the metal itself just breaks. Do holy mess plumbers unfreeze pipes? No, there's no safe way to unfreeze pipes. You just have to wait for it to unfreeze itself, and just let it bypass. There are little things we can do. We can use MAP gas and heat pipes if we need to in a repair situation, but generally we let it just fizzle out until until the water's flowing again. But if we need to do an emergency fix and there's some kind of blockage or some kind of freeze in the pipe, yes, we can use MAP gas to heat the pipes. That will slowly start to get rid of, start to melt the ice, and then we can start to work on the area. But it is only, you don't want to be MAP gassing an entire line. We don't know how much damage that's going to cause to the line, because it's so cold and so hot at the same time, which can lead to, again, the movement of metal can lead to it to burst. So do your plumbers still use PVC? So PVC is used for the drainage, for any kind of water or sewer or your storm water. So all that area, or the storm water line, which, from the gutter down to your house, all underneath the ground, underneath your sink, where the water waste is flowing away, whether it's sewer water or whether it's the water from the gutter down to the downpipe into the storm water, that's all PVC. So we do get that question, and I'm not sure why people are asking that question. Do your plumbers still use PVC? Because PVC is the most latest technology. The old technology was terracotta, but now it's all PVC. Whether it's commercial sites or high-rise building, it's all PVC. How much do emergency plumbers charge in Canberra? So emergency call-out in Canberra will range between about $110 up to $300, $400, $500, depending on which company you're dealing with and what kind of services that company has. So if a company has a 24-hour call center, then they have a much higher cost of running the business, because they're providing a service that other companies can't. So they're going to be charging more for the call out to provide that service. What question should I ask a plumber? Generally, you should be asking, can I see your registration? Are you registered with the governing authority, Canberra Access? Are you registered in the trade that you're doing? Like, you're doing some drainage work at my house. Are you a plumber that's only registered in water and not in drainage? So you've got to find those things out. A bit of history: how long have they been a plumber? Where did they get trained? What's their dispute resolution? How's their warranties? How long have they been? If we have if you install a hot water system, if they install a hot water system for you, and you need a warranty in 2-3 years' time, how long will it take for them to come and do the warranty? Are they going to come straight away, or make you wait a week before they can come and fix the hot water system? In that time, you might not have hot water for 5 days. So what question should I ask my plumber? You can ask numerous questions, like, what So at the heart of it, it's your insurances, your registration, what's your dispute resolution, how are you going to do the job, do I have any guarantees, do I get an upfront price? Because if a plumber doesn't give an upfront price and is just doing the work on an hourly rate, then very much they're incentivized to make this job go as long as possible, and maybe not even do it to a certain quality. So unless you know upfront, this is how I'm going to do it, this is your standards, this is the quality of work, and this is my price. Otherwise, if they do the work and there's no standard, then they can do it any way they want. What's my guarantees? Maybe they'll do it in a way that doesn't have many guarantees. Do I get a compliance certificate? That's a compliance certificate means that every licensed trade needs to have a certificate that the plumber will lodge with Canberra Access, and then that shows that that work is up to Australian standards. So all work in licensed trade needs a compliance certificate. And then, if you have an upfront price with the plumber, then you know that they're not gonna, the plumber is incentivized to do it within a certain amount of time. So if a plumber wants to drag a job out and take it for days and charge a lot of time for a small job or whatever job it is, then they can not have the right tools, they cannot be prepared for the job, they can do it incorrectly, they can say it's not their fault that it didn't work the first time, and the job just extends forever and ever. Can I do my own plumbing in Australia? Unfortunately, no, because there's people's health at risk. When you're dealing with gas, it can lead to gas poisoning, death, all sorts of stuff. So no, plumbing is only allowed to be done by someone that is not only just a plumber in the learning, but they have to be, if they're working by themselves, they have to be licensed to be able to work by themselves. In some places, a high level of registration, which is the highest level of registration as a plumber, then you're still allowed to work by yourself. But anything lower than that, then you're not allowed to work by yourself. You need someone with a licensed person supervising you at most. So majority of the companies will have people on site illegally working by themselves, and most of the plumbers come to your house. Once you ask them, hey, can you show me what level of registration you have? Are you allowed to be working by yourself? And they may not know the answer to it, but most likely they're not. So it is rampant in our industry that this is happening. What are the signs that I might have a gas leak in my home? So usually Australian gas has a distinct smell to it, and you will smell a very distinct odor, and anytime you have slightest inclination or you feel as though it could be something wrong, it's not worth taking the risk. Because it can go bad very quickly. It can lead to explosions, damages of appliances, all sorts of stuff. So the best solution there is go straight away to your gas meter, turn it off, and just call a plumber out there that's registered in gas, that has equipment to isolate leaks. There's many ways to find gas leaks, and you can use instruments to pinpoint leaks. So and then they'll come out and they'll fix it. So sometimes, usually, from the meter towards away from your property, from your gas meter away from the property, all that stuff is dealt with your local gas authority. So if you have a leak at the meter or anything outside going away from your property, you've got to ring your local gas authority. Anything within the property, then you can call plumbers that are licensed or registered in gas to come over, and you want to really ask them, hey, do you have any equipment that you can find pinpoint leaks? Otherwise, a plumber will come and go, oh look, I don't know where the leak's coming from. They can spend the whole day isolating a leak and trying to find it, or if they've got the right equipment, they can find it within half an hour and pinpoint it right even behind a wall. You can pinpoint it down to the last spot. And gas leaks also are not only can be like a burst in the pipe or a leak from the stovetop. It can be very minor as well. It can come from heaters. So if you've got a gas heater or like a furnace heater, then usually you should be getting what's called a carbon monoxide test every 2 years. So A plumber that's specialized and has that kind of knowledge and registration in that area will bring a little meter, test the area, and the test will show is there any kind of leakage of carbon monoxide in the air, and also they'll have to check airflow, ventilation. So even if you don't have a leak, if you don't have enough ventilation, that can lead to problems as well.